Today's tactic is all about INZAGHI'S 352, a tactic that actually managed to go invincible in testing. So do stick around and see that, because trust me, there's some quite good highlights in this one. The first team we're going to test with is going to be Inter Milan. I want to show you this screen first because it doesn't show you on the home screen, but we were actually able to win the Champions League against Manchester City in what was a 3-0 win. Going over to the home screen, we're going to change this as well so we can see not only did we win the Champions League with Milan, we also won the Italy Serie A, the Italian Serie A, the Italian Cup, and also the Italian Super Cup against Milan as well, scoring 120 league goals, only conceded 9. In terms of the table, it was utter dominance from our perspective. 101 points compared to AC Milan with 82, Atalanta with 75, and Napoli with 73. So a very convincing season, and one which pretty much was us all over, winning 4 trophies in the one season. In terms of the team stats, we are going to be looking at us, obviously coming in at 2.66 points per game. Most goals at 120, nearly double of Atalanta. Most shots were at 920, fewer shots at 229, most clean sheets at 31, and also the fewest conceded coming in under 10 this season, which is absolutely incredible, coming in at 9. In terms of the data hub, we are going to look, and that is going to be 3.16 goals per game, which is really impressive with this sort of tactic, because it is a free at the back, but it's quite defensively sort of made in my opinion. But the fullbacks are quite aggressive. They do, trust me, the right back gets involved massively. Definitely worth having a good fullback in that area. Conceded at 0.24, so a really good defensive display over in Italy, which is quite easy to do in my opinion, I'm going to be honest, because a lot of teams match up this formation, so a lot of the games are pretty stale, 0-0s or a 1-0 or a 2-0 as your average sort of game, and a pass completion of 84.36%. In terms of the actual squad screen, we are going to go and have a look. So we're going to have Romelu Lukaku coming in with 58 goals, Lautaro Martinez with 39, Edin Dzeko coming in here with 18, Barella with 14, Bastoni with 5, DeMarco with 5 for Correa, Halonoglu with 3. But the assist is where it gets interesting because the fullbacks are going to get involved. Obviously, we're going to see DeMarco with 22, midfielder coming in here with 17. We've got Martinez with 15, Brozovic with 12, 10 for Halonoglu, Bastoni with 10, 9 for Skriniar, Gosens with 9, Lukaku with 9, Dumfries with 8 and 3 goals. Very influential player in this team. And one thing which we really like to see about this Inzaghi tactic is how everyone gets involved in the system of play, whether that be getting the goals or creating the chances themselves. It works really well, and everyone gets involved. And we are going to watch more goals than this, so don't worry, but I have to show you this game. It is going to be the Inter Milan versus Man City Champions League final, which we did come out and win 3-0 against a full-strength Man City team. As you see, a ball gets played quite directly there, which is not a bad thing, into the centre of the box, and Lukaku finishes it past Ederson. Nothing he could do. A bit of a set-piece action coming here as Halonoglu puts the ball in. It gets cleared. It's going to be Barella on the edge of the box, who takes a touch and hits it, and that has got to be one of the best FM goals I've ever seen. If you've enjoyed that goal, hit the like button, because I think it deserves it. Utterly incredible from Barella, and he's going to create this chance here into Lautaro Martinez, who tucks it into the right corner, finishing off a 3-0 win. We then go over and test one of the weaker teams in the Serie A. That is going to be Lazio, and we had quite a good season, to be honest with you. We finished in second place. We didn't actually win any major trophies, but the second place finish only 3 points behind a team like AC Milan, who are a really good side, to be fair, so we can't be too harsh on ourselves. We also scored 80 goals in the league, ranking us the best, and conceded 17. Now, I will say we had quite a few red cards in this this sort of test, so I'm going to be real, it was a one-off. We didn't really see this anywhere else, so it's probably a mixture of the players and things like that, because this didn't really happen with the other 2 teams we used. But when we do break down the tactic, I will be going over how you can make it a little bit more disciplined if you want to, etc., because I don't want you guys getting loads of bookings and getting frustrated. And on top of this, we also did actually win the Europa League final. It didn't show it, but I am going to show you now, as you can see, in a 3-1 win against Feyenoord in the final. A very good game. They've got a very good team on paper, to be fair to them, but we were a little bit stronger. Again, the stat lines are all in our favour. Nothing too ridiculous, but quite a comfortable final. Obviously, 1-0 up at half-time, 3-1 full-time result. So overall, not a bad season in terms of the actual trophies. And also, you know, the second place finish is the real key, as you can see some of the fixtures obviously down your screen right now. Going over to what is going to be the homepage, we're going to go over the team stats. As you can see, most goals at 80, most shots for at 735, fewest shots at 259, most tackles won at 859, most clean sheets at 24, and also the fewest conceded coming in at 17. Going over to the data hub, we are going to be looking at 2.11 goals per game, so a little bit less than Inter Milan, but it is to be expected. not as good players, a bit of a weaker team. That does quite a bit for the stats. In terms of the conceded per game, coming in at 0.45, so still a very solid defensive tactic, and the pass completion finishing at 84.30%. Going over to the squad, we are going to be seeing 52 goals from Immobile. Really underrated striker in this game. I know Hood Gaming's a very big advocate of him, so shout out to him. 20 goals coming in for Milinkovic-Savic, Anderson with 20, 11 for Pedro, Luis Alberto with 5. In terms of the assists, we've got 20 from Luis Alberto, 15 for Savic, and Immobile with 15, having one hell of a season. 13 for Lazzari, Pellegrini with 9, 7 for Maricic, Anderson with 5. So again, a very familiar story to the Inter Milan team. Obviously, a little bit different in the stats because the player sort of skill level is a bit different, or their overall sort of star ability and in-game sort of statistics, as well. It is to be expected to see a little bit of a drop-off. But overall, still a really good season. Going to finalise the testing with PSG, the season where we did actually go invincible. As you can see here, 34 wins, only 4 draws, and 0 losses. Nearly doing it with Inter Milan as well. But as you can see, not only did we win that, we won the French League, we won the French Cup, and the Trophy de Champion. We scored 159 goals, only conceded 11, and 0 red cards. In terms of the team stats, we're going to be looking at most points per game at 2.79, most goals at 159, most shots for at 984, fewest shots against at 188, most clean sheets at 28, and the fewest conceded coming in at 11. So a really good display there, and the data hub looks even better. 4.18 goals per game and conceded at 0.29. Now, we actually had a better defensive record with Inter Milan, which I actually was quite happy to see, because it just shows that you don't have to be the best of the best in the league quite significantly, like PSG are, to get the best defensive record. Obviously, Inter Milan are one of the best teams, not the most, it's not like a PSG situation, and they defended better statistically in the league with them. Pass completion, the worst of the bunch, but still, we're not really here for that. It's not a tiki-taka tactic. It's not a sort of possession tactic either, so we're not too worried. It does take risks. It does go more direct on some occasions, so we're not really too fussed about that at all. What we are fussed about is this one down here and this one up here, and they look absolutely phenomenal. In terms of the squad, we are going to be looking at Mbappe with 92 goals, 62 for Neymar, 18 for Messi, Vitinha with 9, 9 for Fabian, Soler coming in with 8. The assisters, we've got 34 for Messi, 21 for Mbappe, 20 for Mendes, showing how good the fullbacks are in the system. 16 for Soler, Hakimi with 15. Again, the fullback situation. Vitinha with 14, 12 for Neymar, 9 for Fabian, and 9 for Verratti. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 players nearly with over 10 assists plus in the season. Only 2 of them have a 9. That is absolutely incredible from this PSG team. Just the 9 goals to show you in this game. Quite funny, I know. As Marquinhos gets the ball across, it gets cleared from Biachetti, and Fabian picks it up and strikes it on the edge to make it 1-0 in 20 seconds. And I wonder why this game was such a stampede. And when you go 1-0 down in 20 seconds, and I mean, they are so open at the back, a direct ball gets played across, there's an option in the middle, Messi uses him, and it's an easy goal for Mbappe. This team are definitely playing a high line, and we are exploiting that by playing our own. And we are going to get a third goal here quite quickly as well, with Vitinha, who goes back into Marquinhos, back into Verratti, back into Fabian. He's going to take a touch, hits it, and I think the keeper might be lacking a little bit of confidence there as well. Fabian's just having his way with the shots at the moment. Absolutely incredible stuff from him. Mukelele into Messi out on the right-hand side. A lot of the chances do get created from this side. Plays it back into Verratti, back into a central area, into Fabian. Great pass, great finish into Messi, into the far left corner. And again, the defence isn't really doing anything. Fabian's going to tuck away a little penalty there, and yeah. The keeper's not really at the race, is he? The keeper's sort of given up right down the middle and it still goes in. Not what you want to be seeing if you're supporting that team. Vitinha, oh yeah, the keeper's definitely fallen off. I mean, it's a little bit to do with the match engine as well, because the match engine is a little bit shite, to be honest, but it is what it is. As it is going to be Messi winning the ball back very high up here, who cuts it back into Vitinha, takes a touch across into Fabian, who hits it into the right corner, and that is going to be, I believe, is that 5-6-0 up in 46 minutes. We go again here with Verratti, into Fabian in the midfield, who's such a good player, by the way, into Mbappe, overlapping around from Mendes, ball inside into Vitinha, and we can see here, by the way, just by looking at look at the people who are getting the goals, the midfielders chip in massively with scoring these goals, and that's such a big part of this tactic. The last goal here to come then in the 89th minute, as Mukelele picks it up into Hakimi, a ball through into Mbappe, one touch, one finish into the far left, easy 9-0. Do want to quickly say before we do bring on the tactic, guys, if you are enjoying today's video, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. And if you've got any manager requests, comment them below, or any challenge tactics you want me to make a 1 at the back, 2 at the back, get commenting below because I am having a lot of fun making them. So do get involved with your comments. This is going to be the INZAGHI Masterclass. Now, I do want to quickly say thank you to all of the names coming down the screen right now. These are going to be the new or existing Patreon members. If you want to become a Patreon yourselves, you can by clicking the link in the description. Some really cool perks: early access to the tactics, early video access, priority in the tactic requests you post, one-on-one tactic help, and also much more, including exclusive giveaways. But let's go over and talk about this tactic. So, it's going to be built around your default 3-5-2. But the good thing about this, it is very it's a nice mixture of defending and attacking. I said at the start of the video, it strikes me as a more of defensive sort of layout, because you got no really attacking wide centre backs, you've got a supportive deep lying playmaker, a supportive role in midfield, but you also sort of counter that with an attacking inverted wing back, an attacking obviously Metzala, and these two lads up top. So overall, it is quite a mixture, and it works really, really well. In my opinion, INZAGHI'S tactic is quite an interesting one to replicate. Sometimes you have to use positions which you probably wouldn't think. So like in this position here, you could use a register. But in my opinion, I didn't go with it because I don't think register works that well compared to a deep lying playmaker. So that is why we favour the deep lying playmaker in this scenario. So I will say that in case I do get a comment, because I know traditionally, if you watch Inter Milan, you had to describe this role, you would say a register. But that is a little bit about why we didn't do it. Based around a positive mentality, in possession, you want fairly wide, pass into space, overlap left, overlap right, play out of defence, slightly shorter passing or directness. Again, as I said in the video, it's not a tiki-taka tactic. You are going to go a bit long sometimes, so having the slightly shorter on and pass into space is the best way to do this. A slightly higher tempo, run at defence, and whipped crosses. In transition, we've got counter press, counter, distribute to the centre-backs, and take short goal kicks. And out of possession, we've got quite a detailed one here. We've got a higher line, a high press and line of engagement, much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, get stuck in, and trap inside. If you are picking up loads of bookings, take get stuck in off. Going over to the player roles, we've got a sweeper keeper on support on the default, a wide centre-back on the right on support, on shoot less often. On the left, it's going to be exactly the same. A ball-playing defender in the middle on dribble less and shoot less often. An inverted wing-back on the right on attack, on shoot more often. Obviously, Dumfries in real life is a key reason why this sort of actually exists. A wing-back on the left on attack, on cross more often, and stay wider. A deep-lying playmaker in the sort of middle of the park, sort of defensive role, on support, on more direct passes and tackle harder. This is going to be the guy that picks up the ball and finds the runs of these overlapping fullbacks, plays it long, and causes lots of issues. A centre mid on automatic, and that is going to be on dribble more, get further forwards, roam from position, and move into channel. A Metzala on attack, on dribble more, run wide, and shoot more often. A centre forward on attack, on shoot less often, and an advanced forward, which is going to be your Lukaku, on dribble more and shoot more often. And these two work really well together, so I would recommend, if you've got the players to do it, make sure you stick to these two roles. That is going to be the default version. We're now going to go over to the attacking variant and the defensive variants, which I do use more in-game. I don't really start with them, so that just to make that very clear, you can obviously get them for free. You don't have to be a Patreon member. If you are, you get access to all three. But you can simply copy them click for click, and I would recommend doing that because it is helpful to have all three in your save. The first one then is going to be the attacking variant. Now, there's not too much of a difference, and to be honest with you, the only difference is going to be this Metzala. We added him in instead of a centre mid, a little bit more of an attacking midfield, and he is going to be told to dribble more and shoot more often. The rest of the tactic is quite attacking, and I did forget to mention, I do apologise, the other change. These wide centre-backs obviously are going to be now on attack, so they're going to be quite aggressive at the back as well. This one remains on defend because you can't have three of them going over to sort of be an attacking ones. Like, we couldn't completely skip this guy up and put him into there, for example. So they are going to be on attacking, these wide centre-backs now. The Metzala changes, the mentality stays the same. In possession, maxed out tempo, we've got to be more expressive on now as well. In transition, we've simply kept it the same, I believe. If you are desperate for a goal, you can have distribute quickly on. And out of possession, we've kept it exactly the same because you can't really have a much higher line because you're going to be way too vulnerable at the back, especially with these attack and wide centre-backs. I feel like having that and the higher defence, much higher defensive line would be a real issue. Going over to the defensive variant, there are going to be some changes. The main one is going to be, obviously, these wide centre-backs get dropped back on defend on these instructions right now. In terms of the wing-backs, they go back to, or they go to a supportive role, never were on a supportive role. So they do change quite a bit. They're not as involved going forward. The deep line playmaker does go on defend, still on more direct passes and tackle harder. The centre mid comes back in the default tactic. The Metala actually drops to a support. And as you can see here, these are the instructions. And to finish it off, the centre forward on support, simply on shoot less often. In terms of the team instructions, remains on positive again, because positive seems to suit this really well. And what you can do in the team instructions and the player roles does the work. You don't really need to change the mentality too much. But we actually lower the tempo a little bit to slightly higher. We've still got the same pass directness. We've still got the pass into space. We've still got run at defence on because we are trying to counter-attack. And a slightly higher, a frequently lot of time wasting, because this is a tactic you deploy if you are desperate to seal out a game. In transition, we've got slow the pace down. Again, as I mentioned, this is if you literally are dying to seal a game out. 5 to 10 minutes left. This is what you want to have on. And out of possession, we've gone with a standard line, so not playing a high line now. Drop to a standard. We've still got them much more often, and everything else remains the same. And that is going to be 3 very, very good 3-5-2 tactics to play a little bit different to each other, dependent on your current game scenario. But if you have enjoyed today's video, guys, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We are trying to push for 10k, so any support does mean the absolute world. And there is going to be another video out on Sunday, so do come back and check that one out, because it is going to be a bit of a treat for you guys. But I'll see you then. Enjoy your weekend, and I am out.